Good day, everyone. Hi, I am Christian Dumadag, a first year film student at Mater College. We're supposed to discuss the 9th and 10th SDG with my groupmate. But first, we talk about SDG. What is SDG? SDG, or Sustainable Development Goals, also known as Global Goals, were adopted by United Nations in 2015 as a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure by the year 2030 all the people enjoy peace and prosperity. It composed 17 SDGs. First, no poverty. Second, zero hunger. Third, good health and well-being. Fourth, quality education. Fifth, gender equality. 6. Clean water and sanitation. 7. Affordable and clean energy. 8. Decent work and economic growth. 9. Industry, innovation and infrastructure. 10. Reduce inequalities. 11. Sustainable cities and communities. 12. Responsible consumption and production. 13. Climate action. 14. Life below water. 15. Life on land. 16. Peace, justice, and strong institution. And the last, 17. Partnership of the goals. With the help of my group mates, we talk about the 9 and 10 CDG.
Everyone, hi, I am Paulyn of Guadez, a first-year film student at Mater College. I will discuss to you about the 9th SDG, Industry, Innovation, and Infrastructure. SDG9 has 8 targets, and progress is measured by 12 indicators. The first 5 targets are outcome targets: develop sustainable, resilient, and inclusive infrastructures, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, increase access to financial services and markets, upgrade all industries and infrastructures for sustainability, enhance research and upgrade industrial technologies. The remaining 3 targets are means of achieving targets: facilitate sustainable infrastructures development for developing countries, support domestic technology development and industrial diversification, universal access to information and communications technology. The goal has interlinkages with other SDGs. While industrialization is connected to SDG8, decent work and economic growth, and SDG11, sustainable cities and communities, innovation and new skills development will help realize SDG2, zero hunger, SDG6, clean water and sanitation, SDG7, affordable and clean energy, and SDG11, sustainable cities and communities.
Hi everyone, I am Carlo Collano, as a first year film student at Mater College. I'm talking about the challenge of 9 SDG in the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic. Even before the COVID-19 pandemic began in 2020, the world manufacturing growth was said to be declining. The pandemic hit industries hard and caused disruptions in value chains of goods and their supply, and has affected the digitization of business and services such as video conferencing, healthcare, teleworking, etc. The air transport industry, border closures, as well as limited international shipping capacity, have resulted in financial losses in the millions. It's also important to note that in countries that were focusing much of their resources on SDG9, their technological infrastructure had benefits during the pandemic. Increased connectivity as well as increase in social and political awareness resulted in average decline in response time when dealing with the continuously changing status of the world's response to COVID-19. In terms of communication infrastructure, more than half of the world's population is now online, and almost the entire world population lives in area covered
by a mobile network. It is estimated that in 2019, 96.5% were covered by at least a 2G network. Furthermore, the coronavirus pandemic has revealed the urgent resilient infrastructure. The Asian developed bank notes that critical infrastructure in the region remains far from adequate in many countries. Despite the rapid economic growth and development the region has experienced over the past decade. The Economic and Social Survey of Asia and the Pacific highlights that making infrastructures resilient the disaster and climate change will require an additional investment of 44 billion per year. This sum may need to be even greater in some sub-regions, such as the Pacific Small Island developed states.
Here are some video animation to understand more about the CDG.
Industry and innovation relies on effective infrastructure like safe roads, transportation, clean water and electricity to function on a local and international level. We all have a role to play in helping the UN achieve its goal to create a world where everyone has access to improved infrastructure, industry and innovation by the year 2030. Because when good infrastructure is in place, entrepreneurs can make existing products and services even better and nations prosper for the benefit of everyone. Infrastructure is all around us. It's the sidewalks we walk on, the reservoirs that supply running water, the data centers that link us up to the internet. When infrastructure is strong, people are able to connect and work together on new innovations, and this, in turn, creates more jobs and supports a thriving economy. Roads and bridges allow goods to be transported from producers to retailers. They enable people to get to work when roads are in good condition and adequately serviced. Economies run smoothly. When the tropical storm Nate hit the South American countries of Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and Honduras in 2017, flash floods and landslides damaged countless roads and bridges, making it difficult for relief to make its way to where it was most needed. Lots of businesses were affected, meaning the economies of those countries suffered too. Communities with damaged infrastructure can remain without water and electricity for weeks or months after a natural disaster. But they can also bounce back, as was the case in the Chinese province of Sichuan, which was devastated by an earthquake in 2008, but hosted the Olympics just 3 years later, thanks to an investment in the region's infrastructure. In Kenya, improved internet connectivity is enabling citizens to exchange money person to person, making it possible for farmers to conduct direct transactions with retailers using mobile money apps like M-Pesa. In India, national, state and local governments are committed to boosting rural development by collaborating on the Smart Village initiative. They're transforming underdeveloped villages into model villages by investing in sanitation, new roads and sustainable energies. When we have access to good infrastructure, we can innovate, create and drive industry forward so that everyone benefits together.
Good day everyone. Hi, I'm Arante, lahoylahoy, first year grade student at Mater Dei College. I discuss to you about the 10 SDG, the reduced inequalities. The goal has 10 targets to be achieved by 2030. Progress towards targets will be measured by indicators. The first 7 targets are outcome targets: reduce income inequalities, promote universal social, economic and political inclusion, ensure equal opportunities and end discrimination, adopt fiscal and social policies that promotes equality, improve regulation
of global financial markets and institutions, enhanced representation for developing countries in financial institutions, responsible and well-managed migration policies. The other three targets are means of achievement, target special and differential treatment for developing countries, encourage development assistance and investment in less developed countries, reduce transaction costs for migrant remittances. Target 10.1 is to sustain income growth of the bottom 40% of the population at a rate higher than the national average. This goal, known as shared prosperity, is implementing SDG1, the eradication of extreme poverty, and it's relevant for all countries in the world. In 73 countries during the period 2012 to 2017, the bottom 40% of the population saw its incomes grow. Still, in all countries with data, the bottom 40% of the population received less than 25% of the overall income or consumption. Targets are means of
Hi everyone, I'm Laurence Suelto, a first year cream student at Mater Dei College. I'm thinking about the challenge of the SDG in the pandemic. Impact of COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 is making inequality worse. It hitting the most vulnerable people hardest. Looking ahead, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development project a decline in a global GDP of up to 7.6% in 2020. If there are a second wave of COVID-19 infections, which could put pressure on development assistance committee members or the budget. In 2021, the United Nations did a report on the progress of the Sustainable Development Goals, which show badly the COVID-19 pandemic has affected the progress of Sustainable Development Goal 10. It is predicted that the pandemic has caused the less developed countries around the world to be delayed on hitting the Sustainable Development Goals for as much as 10 years.
during pandemic, it is estimated there will be increase or more than 6% on average for the Gini index emerged and developing countries within much devastating effect on lesser developing countries in the world. The Gini index of Russian, which is able to determine the income equality, where zero means what be all income. A share of income belong to a single person. By the middle of 2020, the number of people who have tried to run away from their country has increased to 24 million, which is highest it has ever been, due to the border restriction mobility restriction that will be caused from the pandemic. With all the time high amount refugees, it has caused large spike and death and disappearance of refugees in 2020, totaling 4,186 people.
Here are some video animation to understand more about the CDG.
We all deserve to live in a world where everyone is treated equally, regardless of our gender, age, and ethnicity. our religious beliefs, economic status, or where we live. Equality gives everyone access to a level playing field to live the life they dream of living. And we all have a role to play in helping the UN reduce inequalities by the year 2030. Inequality exists among individuals. The richest 1% of people on Earth own half the world's wealth. But what if that wealth was distributed among more people? It would make life better for the bottom 40% of the global population, who subsist on meager incomes and are often discriminated against because they're poor. Inequality also exists among nations. Developed countries like Germany, the largest economy in Europe, are considered to be more influential on the global stage because it has strong trade links with other powerful countries and is a member of powerful international organizations like NATO and Group 20. But what if developing economies like Cyprus had an equal say on issues like monetary policy? Wouldn't a more inclusive global governance benefit more people? Inequality has existed for centuries. Great nations were built on the backs of slaves. Men, women, and children bought in markets by powerful people who considered them commodities, not people. What are the lasting impacts of this kind of inequality? Inequality can be a gender issue when women are paid less than their male co-workers, or a racial issue when ethnic minorities are unfairly targeted by police just because of the color of their skin. What other kinds of inequality have you witnessed? But progress is being made. Companies worldwide are committing to religious equality in the workplace by protecting the rights of Muslim employees to wear the hijab during work hours. In 2017, Ireland became the first country in the world to legalize same-sex marriage by way of a referendum, when 62% of the population voted to amend the constitution, giving same-sex couples equal status under the law as heterosexual couples everywhere in the country. And women in African and Arabic countries are calling for equality in political participation and leadership by holding events like the International Conference on Elected Women, because when everyone is treated equally, we all prosper together.